good. Oh, you can't see. Panty lines or nothing. We're always like upper boob and up. Probably get more views if I went lower boob and up. Bonjour, hussy cats. My name is Asia, like the continent, and today we are going to talk about Chardonnay. In particular, what the hell is Reserve Chardonnay? For this video, I am going to be featuring the BELLE twins wine. It's called BELLE RADICI. Beautiful root, that's what it means, okay? Like, I know Italian enough to translate it if I couldn't remember, but this is the Chardonnay. Beautiful bottle. It does have a twist top. You know how I feel about that. Maybe you don't. If you follow me on Instagram at asia.alexander, you would know how I feel about twist tops, but we're gonna go with it. So this is a Reserve Chardonnay, and it is produced in Napa, California. I believe the girls partnered up, wait, back up. The BELLE twins, I don't know everything about them. I just know they were like the WWE girls. They're twins, and one of them flipped each other. They got flipped over and her tooth popped out, and she was dating the John Cena at the time, and now she's married to somebody on Dancing with the Stars. But anyways, her tooth popped out and she was on the tour bus, like she didn't want to see him until her tooth grew back. What did I just say? Cute girls. They decided to branch off from flipping and doing whatever it is you do with wrestling, but they were tired of making their money by flipping and losing teeth. So they had babies and married people and started a wine company. Or they have this wine, and they have, I believe they produce something else. I can't think of the name at all right now, but they did partner up with Ryan Hill with the Hill family estate. I think they've been a winery for about 40 years-ish now, for a good while, in Napa. And so in good company, great family. Their whole philosophy is that they are farmers first, which is really great when you think about wine, particularly wine produced here in the United States, because there are a lot of really popular names, and y'all might as well be drinking Kool-Aid with like some spritzer in it. I don't know, whatever. So let me open this up before I drop the bottle. Okay, oh, it's interesting. So the color, and it's hard to show color because everyone's resolution is different and whatnot, and then if I do, oh shoot, I forgot to set up my lights. It's enough light in here. So if I have to, in post editing, have to adjust the lighting or whatnot, you know, but this is definitely a straw yellow. And I forgot to mention that this particular wine is 2015 vintage. So we're gonna taste it, and I'm gonna get into what a Reserve Chardonnay is versus a normal Chardonnay or a main Chardonnay. So it smells delicious. So I'm getting honey, pear. Yeah, let's taste it. I wasn't ready for that. That is very bold. It's very bold. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, hold up. Like take 28. Oh, damn. Okay, see? This is why I do this, so you can get the first impression. But, okay. Yeah, that was like right there. That was barely in my mouth, and it was already like kapow. Okay, so it's bold. It is dry. A little peppery. Hold on. Okay, like first impression, for a Chardonnay. But you already know. If you've been following me for a while, you know how I feel about my Chardonnays. And you know I like Burgundian Chardonnays. We're just gonna, so I think I've talked about in previous videos, cold weather wines versus warmer weather wines. Napa in and of itself is a cold place, but it's not as cold as France. So I don't dislike, how do I feel? I don't know how I feel. I don't want to talk about my feelings. I'm gonna give you just a tasting, but it's not as oaky as I was expecting it to be. I wonder. Now mind you, yeah, yeah, I don't know if So what the hell is reserve Chardonnay in the first place? Because you're thinking, okay, like, look, like you're already telling me too much about this wine. Like it's levels to everything. So you have main Chardonnay or regular Chardonnay that most of us probably are drinking when we drink a Chardonnay. We go, if it's to the market, to the wine shop, someone gives you some, Chardonnay. Most of us are drinking main Chardonnay. With Chardonnay, what happens is, let me rewind that. You have winemakers, and winemakers have their preferences. It is just like anyone that cooks. You have, spaghetti, right? There are so many ways to make spaghetti. There are ways that Italian Americans make spaghetti. There are ways that Southern Italians make spaghetti versus Northern Italians. There's ways that, Black people make spaghetti. There's ways, Caucasian American people make spaghetti, right? Some people put beanie weenies in their stuff, and some people, like, first off, ew. But there's a market for that, right? There's a market for the beanie weenies and the spaghetti, okay? And then there's people that like the Chef Boyardee and they just dump it out the can. Winemaking is varied as such. These are not hard and fast rules, but with Chardonnay making, the gist of it is okay, so you press the grape and you got the grape juice, right? Okay, half of the grape juice from a given harvest is off to be fermented in steel barrels or steel vats, if you will. The other half is fermented in oak, preferably oak barrels, but I mean, I'll be drinking Burgundian, so it'd be oak. I don't know what y'all be drinking from wherever the hell else, in barrels, wooden barrels, okay? If it's a nice quality, you got that oak, depending on, I won't go into it because that's another rabbit hole, the type of oak and whatnot, because it does lend to the flavor of the finished product, okay? So you have them fermenting, they're in their own places, fermenting. For the most part, 40% or so, depending on the recipe of that given winemaker, that juice goes into malolactic fermentation. What the hell is malolactic fermentation? I'll tell you, okay. Malolactic fermentation is essentially like a second fermentation process, and it adds body complexity flavor to a given wine. You have the grape juice, right? And you put the yeast in it and all that and stuff. Well, the yeast eats the little cultures, they eat the sugar, and then they kind of like, oh no, I'm like dying, and then they're gone, right? Okay, well, in the second fermentation, more cultures added, maybe more yeast, whatever, or the cultures are in the yeast, right? So they get to eat more and poop that out, and what they poop out, I probably should not talk about pooping in wine, because I'm trying to encourage you to drink wine. If I'm telling you about little microscopic things pooping, this video is so, like, it just went so downhill. I cannot believe it. Cheese and crackers. Yeah, you can have cheese and crackers with that wine. That's the only thing you probably eat with it. So once that wine, that juice goes through that second fermentation, maybe the yeast or the lees are removed. Again, winemaker preferences, right? Just hold on, just bear with me. I know you're like, what the hell? And the lees is like the dead yeast that was like, it's just kind of like dead yeast. It's nothing happening with it, okay? And it'll, if it's in whatever vessel it's in, I was gonna say floats to the bottom, it sinks to the bottom, all right? And so then the wine juice is aged for about 6 to 8 months, and then it's bottled, and then it's released, and put on the truck to go to your nearest, Whole Foods or whatever for, usually it's 2 years or so, give or take 2 years after everything, being harvested and smushed into juice, right? Okay, so that's just regular Chardonnay making. I think I said everything right. I think the timeline is correct. With reserve Chardonnay, all of the juice, the grape juice, is fermented in wooden barrels, preferably oak, or preferably French oak or American oak, right? Okay, boom. All of that goes through that malolactic fermentation, okay? And I forgot to kind of mention bâtonnage. Might be butchering that. That's what I was supposed to be doing today. I was supposed to be doing my French lesson, but I was putting my lashes on. Do they look straight? I better not touch them because I kind of like slapped them on really quick. Bâtonnage. So what happens is you got the wine juice in the oak barrel, the big barrels, right? And I told you the yeast, it can sink to the bottom or whatever. It's going to sink to the bottom, just gravity, right? Science, okay? So what they do, you know, the oak barrels have a hole, and this is how they can taste it, see what's going on. Just like when you're making spaghetti and you're tasting your sauce, unless you use ragu and you just have faith in the Lord, okay? But you taste as you go when you cook, right? So same thing with winemaking. So with batonnage, they have that hole in the barrel, the wooden barrel, preferably oak, and they have this tool, and they, I don't know, but it's, I don't know how to describe it, but it's a tool, and it's, I can't describe it. And they jimmy jack that into the hole, and they're able to stir up the lees. And again, the yeast, lees, all that, it adds complexity and flavor and body. This means you're not just drinking, you know, so mind you, Chardonnay is going to be fuller bodied in terms of mouthfeel versus a Pinot Grigio or a Vermentino, which are also whites if you don't know, right? So you drink a Pinot Grigio, I think everybody knows what a Pinot Grigio is or may have had it, okay? You have a Pinot Grigio, that's really light. It's more closer to drinking water in terms of the weight in your mouth. A Chardonnay is going to be heavier. So it's not, you don't want it to be heavy like a stone, you just want it to like hit your palate just right. And so that's part of that, keeping the lees on within the, instead of separating it out. So with batonnage, you're like mixing it up. It's very much like, so when we were little, when I say we, my brother and I, we would, you know, we have cereal in the morning, and we weren't really allowed to have like, you know, like hella sweets or whatever, right? So I would like sneak and put sugar on my Frosted Flakes, like a crack baby, just like, yeah. Okay, well, if you put hella sugar and all the sugar goes to the bottom of the bowl, like you gotta stir it up. You gotta stir it up so you can get the full effect and have your sugar rush. Okay, so somewhat similar, but with wine. With reserve Chardonnay, the winemakers typically let the lees lie, as they say, and it's bottled maybe around, it's aged and bottled around the 18th month mark, give or take, depending on the winemaker. So yeah, and then it doesn't really go out to market for us to purchase until maybe 3 years versus the 2 with Maine Chardonnay or regular Chardonnay, if you will. The difference in the flavor is that with a Maine Chardonnay, you get something that is more bright, more lively. It still can be, you know, fuller bodied or, you know, but, and it can still be great and have complexities to it. But when you deal with a reserve Chardonnay or any reserve wine, you're definitely going to get that more so. Kind of like when you have, you know, you making a spaghetti and you just dump out ragu, right? And we're not trying to rag on ragu, because I might need to get, you know, a partnership with them, because I would, if you ever see me slanging ragu, mind your damn business, okay? I got bills. You have your ragu, right? And it's like cool, right? But if you use ragu, I'm not judging you, but you know you're doctoring it up. If you know how to cook, you're doctoring it up, right? You're doing some things to it to make it, So it's the same thing. It's like ragu, which can be good, you could be happy, cut you some Hillshire sausages off in it, and it's okay. But if you did your own doctoring to it, you know, or whatever, because doctoring can mean so much when you're talking about making spaghetti, right? You do your own doctoring to it, it's got a little bit more there. So that's the gist of it, and that is my best explanation of reserve wine. It would be great for you to taste a reserve Chardonnay versus, you know, one you can just buy in the market, right? I'm always encouraging you to taste the difference. If you can go to a wine tasting and they have a reserve wine, that's even, you know, better, because maybe they can tell you more about what you're actually drinking. So I like reserve wines across the board, and but for everyday drinking, and for me, and I've explained in the past, it's a little bit more difficult for me to acquire wines, and I can't really have things shipped. Like right now, this is filmed in the summertime. I live in Arizona, so yeah, I have to get, you know, my wines from the local shops, and I have to get those wines home ASAP. I can't have them in the trunk and then run other errands. I have to have them like in the car with me or whatever it may be. That's it. That's all I have for you. Again, my name is Asia, like the continent, and you can follow me at Instagram on Instagram at asia.alexander. If you don't subscribe to me here on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and thumbs it up. Go ahead and share this video. Go ahead and comment. If you think I talk too much, go ahead and leave that too, because all press is good press, or whatever Dina Lohan said, or was it Kris Jenner? One of them moms that screwed up their kids' lives, they said that. So do that for me. I will talk to you guys later, okay? Bye.